Okay, my name is Brian Moyer, and for my senior capstone project, the idea that I would like to bring is the idea of music and emotion as it pertains to imagery. Um, More realistically, how it enhances the visual experience by enhancing the more expressive regions of the brain and allowing people to become more emulsified inside of what they're watching. So, overview of me. My name is Brian Moyer. I'm a four-year student. I'm actually more than that. I've been going to UH West Wahoo for quite some time. I actually have a degree in business finance, and the purpose for me to pursuing this degree was actually a little bit more to get a more pronounced understanding of video games as a whole, as well as sound and what it does to the video game experience. I'm from South El Monte High School. I graduated in South El Monte, California. And my focus for my degree is creative media, with general creative media, as I had to shift my creative focus. So my plan is to develop a scene or a set of scenes that depicts some visual imagery while also creating various tunes so as to express how different emotions can be conveyed by different musical expressions. And what this means is that I would like to basically develop a couple different scenarios, stories, as you will, that pose different imagery that people can portray in different ways. And I want to express these different emotions that can be displayed on screen by also developing sound that can go along with the scenes. And what this will do is will help to enhance that visual experience so people can really ingest what they're seeing through the visual medium and take on a more pronounced understanding of what's actually being portrayed through the story and through the narrative atmosphere. Music really does help with video games and the visual media just in general to shape a narrative and make that experience much more impactful. So my goal is to really express that and show how music is an important element in shaping those emotions and conveying what people see on screen and getting that connective response through the visual media that people intake. And the significance of this endeavor is to better understand how to develop a game story by utilizing music to enhance the multiplication of players. So my thesis statement was music in video games helps to shape the narrative and make the experience of player much more emotionally impactful. And as I went through the process of writing my paper, I started to learn more and more how this is actually very true because, music, much like video games, are an expressive part of art. It's how we as people develop these scenarios that could be real or could not be real, but it's our way of expressing ourselves. It's our way of expressing a story that we want to tell with the world and the purpose that we give to that story and how we the people that would be playing it would be interpreting it is very different depending on how that game is developed over a course of time. So the objective and the rationale for this research. So the objective will be to show just how important music really is as an element in shaping those emotions and that connect response for the players to the visual media they intake. Again, the rationale here is because as we expand in the video game industry, as we expand in the video game realm, we're getting more and more um, pronounced with how we as players are taking the experience and how people that develop these video games, like I would plan to do in the future, are using this experience to expand into virtual reality and augmented reality and into the extended reality experience, which is to completely dive headfirst into a gaming experience and walk through the story versus just playing through it with a controller or just watching it from a third person standpoint. And I would like to have a better understanding of how a game can be used to better shape those experiences, just by having that music in there and what the purpose of that music is to really just get those more expressive responses that I'm looking for. So the project, what I intend on delivering, as I had said, is multiple scenes with multiple various tracks. I plan on also developing at least 2 sound files for the visuals that I plan on portraying on the screen. And what that will do is it will give people the chance to see the scene as it is without any sound, just to kind of get an idea of what the intent of the scene is without anything to go on. And then I'll present them with those 2 different sound files to kind of help see what they lean more towards based off of the visual experience. Are they understanding it as a sad scene because the sound is sad, or are they understanding it as a sad scene because that's just what they're seeing on the screen? Does it change if I change the tone of the music? Do they feel more happy whenever I play the happy sound, even though the imagery that they're seeing is sad? Are they able to interpret that? Are they able to incorporate the different experience that they're feeling through that emotional impact of the scene? And it follows my initial concept because it allows me to put more of a practical approach to my concept that I want to present, which is how music and sound really just helps to emulsify the experience of the visual intake. So the significance. The significance of the whole endeavor is that it really helps with understanding the connections between game and gamer. Is the experience that we're taking just happenstance? Is it something that we are just passive bipartisans in? We don't really care. We're just ingesting it. We're taking it as it is and moving forward because that's what we become so accustomed to? Or is there significance to the fact that we are playing music? Is that what people are really going for? Is it, when they watch TikToks, are they watching it for the trend? Or are they watching it for the sound that's following the trend? You know what I mean? Like it's understanding the impact that the music is having over the total visual experience, and just really getting a feeling for how that can be brought into the video game realm, and obviously for the future implications of virtual reality, augmented reality, and of course extended reality, which is the future of gaming. We're getting more and more pronounced with haptic sensibility as well, which allows players to not only see what's going on, but feel the experience as well. So if music can play more of an impactful approach on that as well, it really helps to develop more of a pronounced understanding of what people are really developing when they move forward into this next level of gaming. So this is some of the data to show just how much music has shifted just because of video game impact. I have two different graphs here, one depicting the soundtrack sales in the United Kingdoms just based off of video game concepts. And as you can see, the data has shifted a lot. And a lot of this is because of the impact that we've been having with a lot more TV shows that are coming out nowadays that really have a relevance to video games. And the nostalgia there is really, really impactful. But I feel like a lot of it has to do with the nostalgia of the soundtracks that they're using as well. Whenever Super Mario came out, not to give any spoilers, I apologize if I am, a lot of what they do in the movie is utilize a lot of the sounds that people are already familiar with. It's something that helps them connect to that response that they had already, whether they were a kid, whether they're an adult, it didn't matter. The experience was there and the experience was lived because they had more of that approach that was so impactful because they had so much of a nostalgia wake that followed it. Sonic, the same thing. A lot of the sounds that they used, a lot of the music that they used was sounds and files they had pulled from a lot of the original script. And it really just shows how much people are wanting this kind of a musical experience. The second graph shows the music industry in the United States and how it's grown. It's grown in revenues by billions. And you can see that there has definitely been a huge wake and a shift in how we intake media, especially music. Sales have honestly grown exponentially, and a lot of that's the impact of TikTok as well. The impact that video games have on society, the impact that music has on society is very, very pronounced, and it's very apparent just by looking at these two graphs alone. So my target audience, the target audience that I'm choosing to try and make this paper for would be anybody that's wanting to do sound engineering, to be a video game sound designer, a Foley artist, somebody that's trying to really grasp what they're trying to portray on scene, right? Or what they're trying to portray through the visual media that they're projecting upon. And what I hope that it does is that it helps with them to understand what kind of music they can use or what kind of sound they can use to help convey the experience that they're trying to convey. And there's already been studies that have looked into this, and a lot of it, there was no real significant understanding, but I feel like the further we move along and the more that technology shifts and the more that our understanding shifts of how this development can be made, it really speaks volumes to how it can be used to better understand emotions now versus what we had then. So I propose to create a proof of concept that shows more definitively how music and its relation to emotion help with a person's level of connectivity to the form of visual media. Um, I feel like this could help with, again, the understanding of how to interrupt that more expressive region of the brain and how to really evoke those emotions and get that encapsulation that people really want out of what they're trying to prevent, or I mean, sorry, trying to present with whatever visual media that they're giving out to the people. Um, and it would really help them to understand too, like, am I using the sound strictly because I'm using the sound, or am I creating a concept, am I creating something that people are ingesting because they actually want me to put it out there? And it gives that differentiation and the distinction of the two. So my preparation process, the pre-preparation, I plan on creating all the stories and the scenes, going over how I want these stories and scenes to convey certain or different emotions, or how they can be interpreted to express these different emotions, and um, create the sound that I want as the concept to be able to hit those two expressive different sides that I want to try and convey, and see which side people lean more towards, and leave the option open as well to, okay, well, maybe it's just they like the scene for what it is. Moving on into the production phase, that would be where I actually started developing the scene out, giving it a little bit more life, giving it a little bit more animation, really starting to develop those sound files and helping them to follow the flow of the scene, just to kind of make sure that the notes are hitting when they need to, the sounds are hitting when they need to, that emulsification is happening, and that people are really starting to take in more of what they're seeing, and it's really helping with the visual experience as I'm intending it to. And then the post will be to explain what I have found through this proof of concept and what I've found through this understanding, to get more of an idea of if it's indeed factual and something that can be put more to a practical use for my later endeavor with my business and what I plan on doing with my business in the video game industry, or if it's something that I can reference back to and kind of evolve over time as I need to later in life. So my deliverable. My intended deliverable here is to really just try and get something that helps me to expand my ability to work forward in the future. Like I said, I have a business degree. My intent was to take this business degree and open a game industry revolved network that I want. And what that includes is taking in people that really want to create powerful and impacting games. And I want to be able to help with their understanding of how these games can be much more impactful, especially with the vision that I have of having an expanded reality room or a virtual reality center, and making those sounds be a part of that whole experience just as a general nature, and not just something that, they're playing just some random tracks because they have it on YouTube or because people just want to listen to it and go along with it. No, it's something that's concrete, and it's substantial, and it shows that, if you have a musical track that really does convey specific emotions, or you have a soundtrack that really just conveys those specific regions that you're looking for whenever they're going along this experience that you're creating for them, that it actually does hold bearing and that it is worthwhile to put that into the endeavor. So thank you. That is my presentation, and I leave the floor to any questions.